Welcome to the Tabata Get Fit workout. All you'll need today is a pair of medium hand weights. We're going to be doing a Tabata workout today. We're going to be doing 4 circuits, 8 rounds each, 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of recovery. Now the first exercise is going to be a tricep extension. So grab your weights, 20 seconds on. Let's begin. So elbows up high, engage the core. We are hinging from the hips, so you're extending and squeezing the tricep muscle. Really control the weight here. Think about the muscle. All right, 10 seconds recovery. Next, we'll move to a squat and a jab right left. Ready? And let's begin. 20 seconds on. So squat, hips back, jab right, left. So make sure you have a challenging weight here. If the weights are too much, you can put those down and perform the jabs without weights. All right, 10 seconds recovery. We're going back to the tricep extension, round 3. Ready, and let's begin. Elbows high, extend and squeeze. So again, core turned on, keeping the elbows stationary here, and then really squeezing that tricep muscle. At your own pace. All right, 10-second recovery. Moving back to the squat jab for round 4 out of 8. And let's begin. 20 seconds on. Squat, jab right, left. At your own pace, controlling the weight here. Last one. All right, nice job. Moving to round 5, back to the tricep extension. 20 seconds on. And let's begin. Elbows high. Core turned on, squeeze the tricep. Focus on the work here. Squeezing and contracting the tricep muscle. All right, 10 seconds recovery. Moving on to round 6, back to the squat jab. And let's begin. Hips back, jab right, left. All right, nice job. Moving back to the tricep extension. Moving on to round 7 out of 8. Let's begin. Elbows high. Contract and squeeze. Elbows stationary, core turned on. All right, and recover 10 seconds. All right, last round, round 8. Going back to the squat jab. And let's begin. Hips back, jab right, left. Doing compound movements here, working a lot of muscles at once, really boosting the metabolism. Last one. All right, Tabata 1 is complete. So grab a sip of water, take a breath, inhale, and exhale. All right, getting ready to move on to Tabata 2. Go ahead and grab your weights. Actually, you won't need your weights for this Tabata. It's going to be all cardio. So we're going to start with a lateral shuffle. Let's begin. Big movement here, really getting that heart rate elevated. Almost there. All right, and recover 10 seconds. Next cardio-based exercise is jumping jacks. In 20 seconds on, let's begin. So big movement here, getting as many jacks in as you can in the 20 seconds. And recover. All right, so we're moving on to round 3 of the lateral shuffle. Let's begin. 20 seconds on. Big movement here, side to side. Shuffle and sitting the body down low, hips back. See if you can make the movement a little bigger here. Last one. All right, 10-second recovery. And moving on to round 4, jumping jacks. 20 seconds on, let's begin. Big movement here. Really elevating the heart rate. Almost there. All right, 10-second recovery. Getting ready for round 5 of the lateral shuffle. Let's begin. 20 seconds on. All right, recover 10 seconds. All right, moving to round 6 out of 8, jumping jacks. 20 seconds, let's begin. Really push through on the cardio here. Almost there. All right, recover 10 seconds. All right, last 2 rounds of this Tabata. So we're going to do the lateral shuffle, round 7. Let's begin. 20 seconds on. See if you can finish strong. And recover 10 seconds. All right, last round, jumping jacks. 20 seconds on. Let's begin. Big movement here. So finish strong, last round. Really push through. Get as many jacks in as you can. So making sure you earn that recovery. All right, nice job. Take a breath. Exhale, move around, recover. All right, grabbing a little sip of water if you'd like. We're going to get ready for Tabata 3. Okay, you're going to need your weights. We're going to be doing 2 weight exercises here, a deadlift side raise and a lunge with a hammer curl. Make sure you have some challenging weights. And the first exercise is a deadlift side raise. 20 seconds on, begin. So hinge from the hips, deadlift, and then side raise. So working those medial delts, the hamstrings, the glutes, the quads. All right, moving on to the second exercise, lunge, hammer, curl. 20 seconds on, let's begin. So reverse lunge with a hammer curl. All right, recover 10 seconds. Moving back to back to the deadlift with round 3. So deadlift side raise. 20 seconds on, let's begin. So hinging from the hips, core turned on, come up, and then bring those arms up about shoulder height. Controlling the weight here. All right, recover 10 seconds. Round 4, reverse lunge, hammer curl. 20 seconds on. Let's begin. So big step back here. Palms face in here on the hammer curl. Nice job. Take a break. 10-second recovery. Moving on to round 5, deadlift side raise, 20 seconds on. Let's begin. And recover 10 seconds. So moving back to the lunge, hammer, curl, round 6, 20 seconds on. Let's begin. So big step back, reverse lunge, palms face in on the hammer curl. Really squeeze those biceps and drop down into the lunge. And recover 10 seconds. All right, 2 more rounds in Tabata 3. So round 7, deadlift side raise. 20 seconds on. Let's begin. Again, controlling the weight here on that side raise. Almost there. And recover 10 seconds. Last round, reverse lunge, hammer curl. 20 seconds on. Let's begin. And recover. Nice job. Go ahead and put your weights down. Grab a sip of water if you need it. Take a breath. Exhale. All right, so we have one more Tabata circuit. We're going to go back to that cardio with the lateral shuffle and the jumping jacks for our final Tabata. All right, so let's get ready for Tabata 4. First exercise, lateral shuffle, 20 seconds on. Let's begin. All right, really focus on strong, powerful movements here. Finishing this last Tabata strong. So big movement here, shuffling side to side. And recover 10 seconds. All right, round 2 is going to be jumping jacks, 20 seconds on. And let's begin. Big movement here, getting as many jacks in as you can. At your own pace. And recover 10 seconds. All right, round 3, going back to the lateral shuffle. 20 seconds on, let's begin. And recover 10 seconds. All right, round 4 of the jumping jacks. 20 seconds on, let's begin. Almost there. Push through a little faster. And recover 10 seconds. All right, moving on to round 5 of the lateral shuffle. 20 seconds on, let's begin. Big movement. Again, we want to finish strong on this last Tabata. Almost there. Push through a little faster. All right, nice job. All right, round 6, jumping jacks. 20 seconds on, let's begin. Almost there, 10 seconds. Push through. And recover 10 seconds. All right, final 2 rounds of Tabata 4. So round 7 of the lateral shuffle. Ready? Let's begin. 20 seconds on. Make these last 2 rounds your best rounds. Push through a little stronger. Nice job. Recover 10 seconds. All right, final round, jumping jacks. 20 seconds on. Let's begin. All right, finish strong. Last round. So really push through here, giving me your top effort. Almost there. All right, nice job. Take a breath. Exhale. Walk around and recover. All right, so your workout is complete. Now don't forget to cool down and stretch.